Welcome to this week's edition of Forest Frame, where we delve into the art of woodland photography. In this video, we present a collection of some of the finest photography by other photographers who do woodland photography, and featuring clips from the Landscape LensCast. As a gesture of the Landscape LensCast team, I'd like to show appreciation for the dedicated work to the team, and we also have included breathtaking woodland images from the guys who contributed to the panel. Now, understanding the mindset of fellow photographers is crucial, and when composing shots in a woodland setting, it can be difficult. So this video aims to provide an insight and to stimulate your thoughts on the subject. You will find links to everyone's YouTube channel on the description below. But just to kick things off, we've got Mr. Adam Gibbs discussing a particular image he showcased in a prominent outdoor photography magazine. Do enjoy.
Ask any nature photographer what inspires them to spend time in the outdoors, and I'm confident that the answer would be a universal one. It's not the image that they're chasing, but the experience. It's the act of looking for those scenes that move us, the sense of discovery, reaction, and excitement about a subject, location, and of course, let's not forget light. The lighting on the trunk, though, is something that I do quite often in my images for. So I do. There is some dodging and burning there, and that is to really just try and bring out some dimension in the trunk. I guess that the hard part is trying to do it subtly enough that it doesn't look too obvious. I think sometimes we have good intentions with our processing, but really at the end of the day, you really don't have to do that much to just bring out certain details, you know.
I mean, you're just recreating what you've seen as well, and it's just the details in a picture is a raw image, and we're just bringing that out as photographers.
Yeah, like the top of the image, I've darkened ever so slightly to try and bring your eye down to the central portion. And then a bit of dodging and burning. But, I always figure if you have good light and good composition, then you really shouldn't have to do much after the fact, And I'd rather try and get as much in camera as possible than trying to do it afterwards. Because that sometimes just ends up being a pain because you're trying to, you're trying to make something half decent out of something that isn't really great after all. You should probably just delete it,
Yeah. When I first started doing photography and started to get into Lightroom and Photoshop and what have you, there was that thing where we all probably done it at certain points of photography career. We just get a bit too confident with the global sliders. You're pushing the sliders up too bad. You just want to push them up to what works with what, and you're just interested in how it works. And then you start to do it less and less as you learn more in post processing, to a point where watching videos like from you guys, yourself and other guys, you start to appreciate less is more. And this certainly does give that, where you've described where you've actually edited this image, that you've just kind of just done just the obvious things just to bring up the shadows in the left-hand side of the trunk, for example. It's a beautiful image.
it's the angle. I just think that's really a cracker because it's unusual. I remember Charlie White complimented Chris Frost. Now, Chris Frost had a winner of the Landscape Photographer of the Year, and it was a wild garlic shot that I just thought was sublime. And one of the things that he talked about was the angle of the floor, and it echoes here beautifully with the colour of the foliage. It's this for me rocks my world. This particular shot. Just thought I'd put it out there. So, Paul and Daz have questions. Go for it.
Yeah. On you go, Daz.
I just love this because it's just the subject is just bang in the middle of the frame, and then that drop off of the fog and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My question was, did you slip going down that slope?
Probably yes.
I've taken some, not as good as this by all means, but something like this before, and I've slipped from the top to the bottom when I've tried it.
Yeah.
Yes, I probably stumbled quite a few times because I wasn't looking at the ground while I was focused on this.
But this as well, just with the separation and everything. Did it take you a while to get everything just right?
Yeah, a little bit of moving sort of side to side. I mean, when it comes to separating trees like this, millimeters can make a difference, just sort of shifting very, very slightly. I mean, some of the trees I couldn't get to be spaced apart, but because we have that fog that creates that separation, it makes the image and the scene much more simple. It just worked anyway. Yeah, I was really excited when I came across this scene. This is in the Forest of Dean, and the Forest of Dean is very high up, and so we don't actually get a lot of conditions like this. So I think last year we only had 1 or 2 days where we had thick fog like this up there. It's really quite rare. So to get this image, I was just so excited by it, and we haven't had conditions like this since, unfortunately.
Yeah, so lovely. I mean, everything you guys have talked about is pretty much what I was going to ask, and it was mainly the precarious kind of way. Your tripod will probably set up in a way where one leg's short and 2 legs long, I presume, here.
Yes.
But yeah, Darren kind of covered what I was going to say, actually. It's quite a precarious kind of hill there, but you can fall back easily. But, you know, it's kind of like, is it kind of like a beech tree kind of forest round about the Forest of Dean? Does it look like beech trees there?
Yeah, the Forest of Dean is quite big. And you get a lot of different types of trees. So you have beech trees. There's a lot of pine forest and like mossy. I love the mossy areas. They're my favourite.
Yeah. What I love about beech trees is when they get saturated, they almost go black when it's in the mist. It looks great.
Yes.
And that's when Darren's talking about everything dropping off, it works so well with the beech trees because it's the contrast with these trees. It's amazing, really nice. And of course, you've got the receding kind of. Try to think of is a beech tree, I know that, but with regards to I always kind of people tend to think it's like the last of the autumn, but it's not. These trees will hold on to their leaves right through almost winter. You'll see like these kind of leaves on the trees, on the beech trees, and it's like the clinginess of like past kind of seasons still there. It's amazing, and it's just like everything else is around is pretty much bald and open and canopies open, but yeah, I presume it was in the winter. I presume, yeah.
Yeah, end of autumn, beginning of winter.
Yeah,
it's
real nice.
And as I was walking through this bit of forest, it just stood out to me instantly. And I've actually gone past this tree quite a few times since in different seasons, and it stands out to me every single time now. I can just instantly go and find that tree and pinpoint it.
Yeah.
Good morning from the Isle of Skye. Well, since I set my camera up, We have had some rain, so the waterproofs are on now, well, the waterproof jacket at least. So as you can see, the light is now out. It's hitting both bits of the foreground and the very tops of the mountains there. Well, I've just had some nice cloud filling the top of my frame. I recomposed a bit, went a bit tighter, closer to 50mm now. And that's actually moving off from the top right end of the frame. And yeah, I think that's probably going to be my favourite shot from this morning in terms of the cloud. The light hasn't really changed that much, just because the sun's in full view and all it's doing is basically moving further and further south. So as you can see, we finally got light on Learche. So I've moved yet again. So this is probably going to be my last piece of camera just because of the midges, but I'll share any other images that I do get this morning. Yes. Oh, it's gone again. Just as I started recording. I didn't even get the shot.
What I love about this shot, Nick, is the light. As you mentioned about light earlier on, you know, we do attract to go to light, and the canopy I gather is kind of highlighted out in the image, and the composition you've got is amazing. The shadows, the light, and of course the background, even to the minute point where you can actually see like a bent over kind of sapling tree bottom on the left hand side. It looks broken. My point is, just regards to this image, in regards to your post processing, looking at this image, what kind of things you try to highlight in this image by post processing image?
In all honesty, this will probably surprise a lot of people, there wasn't that much post processing required.
That, actually.
Yeah, I mean, because some people might think, you know, how has it got this, you know, this much light on the tree? You know, it's a foggy day. There's no real evidence of light streaming in. It's just, you know, the light reflecting down onto it. And from what I remember, there wasn't really that much required. I might have lifted the luminance of the yellows a little bit. But apart from that, not. I mean, some other shots I got from from that particular morning had actually gone a bit more on the blue side with the processing. They just seem to work better, being a bit kind of with the fog, the mist kind of being of that kind of blue feel to it. But this I just kind of kept as it was. It just, for me, it just felt right. In terms of the composition, I mean, we're just kind of going a bit off your question here. That actual sapling that you mentioned, I was moving left and right. As you'll know, with woodland photography, you're looking for overlapping elements or trying not to get them to overlap, but you're bound to get it anyway. And it was just, when I moved to my left a bit, I saw that wee tree just bent over and thought, that's where I'm going to stand. And it just seemed to, you know, it worked so well for me. And I think that, again, that's probably about 50. And it was just trying to get as much of the tree as I could. I just, you know, I was thinking, if only I had like a 12mm lens or something to encompass more of it. But then elements in the background would probably, you know, be that little bit smaller. So you might kind of lose that sapling into the distance at an even wider focal length.
Yeah. It certainly fills the frame, the tree. All the limbs are actually touching the three corners there. And then that sapling is beautifully framed within a frame. And they'll see the separation you've got in the background as much as possible. You've got all the pines separated as well. So it's beautiful lined up composition.
You've probably heard me say, when you find a composition, see if you can make it better. There we go, using this tree bang in the middle here, just trying to separate the background. But I am debating whether to do a pano as well. Let me flick you around and show you why.
That, to me, is woodland photography in the aspect of just mainly doing a pano, just have that kind of calm and serene shot.
Yeah, this is actually a 6-shot pano at 70mm, and this image is 2 weeks old. And it was a day of scouting, more or less. Took Big D up there with me, and we got absolutely wet through. It was a heavy drizzle, and it just brought the mist and the low cloud in. And this lasted for about 20 minutes, and then it just blew away again. But desaturated because it's summertime, and that's what I tend to do with my woodland now. Try to desaturate, and all I've left is the greens and the yellows. And there's a hint of a hint of blue, and that's it.
Jan, would you like to say about this one? Is there anything you like about it?
I like the movement of I like the placing of the shot, because all the subject, like the trees, shows a certain type of movement. So, which makes the shot, I think, it's not just straight line woodland. So I like it. It has character to it.
It took me about 15 minutes to get that composition right, to try and get as much separation between the branches and tree stumps as possible. I was actually lent against another tree tech in this.
I always think their photographs look like they've been painted.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have that feeling.
It's one of those images where the more you stare at it, the more you appreciate it. And you can tell the hard work that Ginger's gone to here to really get that separation, because you start looking at individual branches and it's just like, yeah, okay, that's perfectly placed. That one's perfectly placed. It all just comes together beautifully, and it just really leads the eye around.
I like the separation of the image as well. You know, the separation of the trees in the foreground there, the ones that you need to be separated, and the interest of the trees, the old twisted, gnarly trees in the background. The mist as well in the background there. And when you're doing these kind of images in the woodlands, when it's just, when you've got mist is nice, but when you got like snow as well, the elements and just the aesthetics of the image is so pleasing in regards to everything in this image.
I really like the split tree smack.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That split in the middle there, perfect.
Yeah, for me that is what the photo is about. This photo, and I have a corresponding one from the same morning as the previous photo. They remind me so much of Narnia. I just expect to go in through that split in the tree there and then come out through a wardrobe. Like it's and especially because I have the well, it looks like a summer version, but it was taken in October, so an autumn version. And then I have this winter version, and as you know from the Narnia Chronicles, how the children come into Narnia and then they save everything, and then it gets summer instead of winter. Yeah. So I really like those associations with these photos.
Hi, my name is Steve Stein. Through landscape photography, my goal is to share the one special moment in time. One of the best views I've ever seen in my lifetime, capturing the beauty I see and the emotions I feel. My goal is to bring those moments to you so you can feel the wonder and the connection I experience through the lens. Photography isn't about capturing an image, it's about freezing a moment, a fleeting whisper of time, so we can feel it forever. It's so still. It's so beautiful. From sweeping landscapes to the tiniest wonders of nature, I aim to share the beauty of our world, one photo at a time. Welcome to my world of landscape photography.
But yeah, tell us more about this one. Look at in this sort of nuclear kind of waste on the tree. So it looks like it's glowing away there. It's beautiful.
Well, that area is we've actually in the middle of the woodland, and again, this woodland is 5 minutes away from me, no traffic lights, and walk to the middle of the wood, and there's a nice open area, so it lets all the light in. But round it, you've still got these where all the moss and all the dark areas are. But because the light can penetrate it, it would just making this moss all around me just pop, really. And this just drew me to this because of that branch in the background, and it's just nicely framed. And it was one of them shots. I'm not sure if it works or not, and I don't normally like the holly in the scene because a lot of holly trees, as you can see on that.
Yeah, I don't like holly trees. Yeah,
I don't like them in an image, but they seem to. As a backdrop, they seem to work quite well, and because that holly bush in the foreground is just a small one or smaller ones, I think it just sort of works a little bit.
I like it because it's nicely framed with that other one on the right hand side.
Yeah, it's the frame that drew me to the actual composition, and then it would just trying to work that really. But it worked out. It was framing that root of that tree in the background and that bit of light that were coming through, and it was obviously a bit of we've got a bit of atmosphere as well. So it was a little bit of everything, and it was shot at about, I don't know, 150, 200 mil again to enhance that atmosphere. And yeah, it was just the framing of that tree really. That to be honest with you, when I got back, I didn't think it was going to work till I started to edit it. And it was one of them that as soon as you start working with it, you know it's worth spending a little bit more time on.
Do you often find that though with Woodland images?
The what, sorry?
Do you often find that with Woodland that you don't know really how it's going to work until you start to edit?
It's funny because the ones you think are going to work, you probably struggle with more.
Yeah.
And it's the other ones that seem to you sort of know as soon as you start processing the image, I think, that you know it's worth investing a little bit more time in it.
I commented on this image.
Well,
this
actually,
week.
you commented on one where I'd removed the swing.
Right.
When I put this out, Paul, I removed.
I think the swing makes the swing
I
actually
like
makes
the swing,
it.
I know, and so this is the 30th of November, 2020. I had quit my job due to the long COVID at the end of August, and I'd been for a couple of job interviews, and I was blimmin' awful at, and I'd just been offered a job a couple of weeks beforehand. And I was just waiting for my DBS to come through, so to say I could work with children again. And I was just getting highly frustrated. And as I drove into this particular area, this is the closest woodland to me, and it's the only, literally I have one shot, that's it, one. And I just drove into this area, and all these photographers were leaving very dejected. And I grabbed my husband and just went, "Come on, we've got to keep going." And everything went, the mist went. And then just as we were going back to the car, I thought, well, stupid woman, why would you even do it till this late? So it was about 2 hours after sunrise. And all of a sudden, this came through. And I thought, I hadn't even got time to change lenses. So it was at a 70 to 200 on a 70, one shot done. That was it. And you know, when you walk away and you get that little buzz and you think, I've only got one shot. And it's that your buzz in your stomach, and you think, I can't wait to get home, just look at that on the screen, because either I'm going to be incredibly excited or incredibly disappointed.
Yeah, it's I mean, you said about you were not really keen on wood. Well, not keen on woodland. You say you're not really don't much it, but that is a stunner image
to get that light.
Sorry,
and
go
I
on.
took that out. I took that out, and I just, you know, when you go back after a couple of years and you just think, I'm going to stick that back in.
Yeah. To me, that swing makes it. That is part of the image. It tells a story about it.
Yeah. I don't think I got the story element a few years ago. Now I'm like, yeah, I've got it.
Can you see the pattern there with the circle?
Say again?
Can you see a pattern there? It's like the branches meeting each other. It's almost like a ring. And it's like, you know, it's kind of like sorcery kind of thing. I like that. It's really
what
nice.
I like about this as well, in the middle, just past the swing, you've got like a double exposure effect with them branches.
Yeah, I was thinking just one behind the other, I think. But yeah, it's like a double explosion, isn't it?
I've only just noticed that. Thanks, man.
That's exactly what I was going to comment on, because you'll see in one of my pictures coming up. I absolutely love that hazy layers that you get, and it's just stunning. I love it.
See, I'm well, we were talking to Chris Sale last week, and he was saying he likes of a man-made object in his pictures. I'm exactly the same. You know, if you look at the pictures that I put up, there's always something man-made in there.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's this wee rustic kind of a hut thing, which it actually sits under. This is Almondale Country Park, which is just the other side of Livingston from me.
Yeah.
And this sits underneath an old railway viaduct that goes across the valley. It's a very, very deep kind of ravine with this park in it.
Yeah.
So when the viaduct was getting a bit dilapidated, they put that there just in case anything fell off it. So it's to protect walkers.
That's what it was. Right. But that's going to help you when a half-a-ton lump of stone falls. That's all.
They have repaired the viaduct since we left the thing.
I love that tree, the ivy on the right hand side of the tree. You see the ivy on it?
Yeah.
And then the other side, like, you got the opposite, you got the moss and everything. Just looks quite unusual. I like
It's
that.
got a tiny bit of separation too.
Kind of tree, you know.
Yeah. How much shuffling did you do to get that branch just to curve over the apex of the roof and run along the top? It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you can tell you've taken your time.
Particularly big amount of shuffling, to be honest, but I just had to get it just as the main branch was over the roof, you know, and that was it. So.
Yeah.
And it's what you were saying, Darren, about getting off the beaten track.
Yeah.
So this has got paths. This woodland's got paths going through it, and I've just started to walk through the woodlands itself and get away from the tracks. And my dog Duke, he absolutely loves it. He just piles through. He just loves doing it. And I found these, and I spent too much time concentrating on getting the composition right with the fir and then the stick and whatever. I didn't realize my horizon was out slightly. You see the trees in the background are all leaning over to one side, and I can't adjust it because I'll lose the top of the fern.
Because the top of the fern.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, just leave it as it is.
Have you tried this in a 1x1 crop?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would lose the fly.
Right.
See the fly on the left under the leaf.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I see that now. Yeah.
Yeah, and almost every image I'm taking of mushrooms and so forth is a spider or a fly or something in there, because it's only when you get down close to the forest floor do you actually see just how much wildlife, in a way, the critters that are in amongst that.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I got a macro lens last year, and the same thing. When you get close up, the amount of detail you can see.
Yeah,
like say little critters just crawling over a little leaf.
Oh,
and stuff. It's fantastic.
So I actually like to find them in the image afterwards, because I'll never have seen it when it was there. And I'll try and make something of it. If I spot something, I'll try and make sure it's in focus.
Yeah.
But that's there. But a one-to-one crop would actually work quite well. But you'd probably lose that. But I see what you mean about the crop. And it would probably take away some of those trees, and you wouldn't notice it was at an angle.
I just think because that fern, I think that fern adds to the image definitely.
Oh yeah. It is.
It sort of brings you in, and then that little branch coming out as well. It just
it wasn't accidental, definitely, for that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A special thanks to Landscape LensCast for these guys showing me their work, and also to Adam Gibbs and Courtney Victoria, etc. I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be back a week on Sunday at the should be time of 9:30 AM. Until then, thanks again for your support, and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I really appreciate if you can do that for me.